Gather round, Phantomaniacs, and feast your eyes upon the newest reviews here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. Alright, finally, the last two figures that we know of from Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, which, by the way, is an awesome movie. I reviewed the first set of figures before I saw the movie, so I really didn't know anything about the characters. I was just kind of reviewing them as, you know, oh, look at this wizard and this bard, and here they are. What are you going to do? Now, I've seen the movie. I love the movie. I watched it once in the theater, and I've watched it once on, is it Paramount Plus, right? That's what it's called. It's on there now. If you didn't give it a chance, I highly recommend it. It's a fun action adventure, very accessible. I hate to use Marvel as the metric because that's what so many people do now, but it works. At least, in the initial stages, you can't argue with the success of Marvel. And that's kind of what they've got going on here. Takes place in the Forgotten Realms. So these two figures, they revealed the day that the movie was released because they did a mock-up of the movie poster using the figures. And these two characters were in it, but we had no indication at all. It was the first time we'd even seen these figures. And what's really awesome, though, is that rather than doing a pre-order, Hasbro just dropped them on Pulse. They were just available to order. So I ordered them on Friday. I'm reviewing them on Monday. So fortunately, Pulse has these didn't even come from the Atlanta warehouse, though. These came from Illinois or whatever it is. But anyway, they're here now. I'm very happy because these were actually two of my favorite characters from the movie. And let's check them out. So we're going to start with Doric the Druid. Now I know. I didn't even really look at the boxes before for some reason. Now I know you get a little bio on the side here in multiple languages. A shape-shifting tiefling druid who makes her home with the elves of the forest, Doric fights to protect the natural world from those who would destroy it. I'm guessing, look, I don't know modern D&D at all. I know that they have changed some problematic things, so I'm guessing a tiefling is like I don't know. I don't know what it is because she's got horns and a tail. I have no idea. Somebody tell me in the comments what a tiefling is. On the back of the box, you've got a little image. It's cool packaging. I like this, the ampersand over here with the way it's shaped and everything. It looks cool. We now know that the plastic-free packaging is going away because everyone, even including me, ended up not liking it. So, and I was a proponent. Now, I do not look forward to the return of the plastic trays if that's a thing that's happening. What I'm kind of hoping is they can figure out a way to continue the cardboard trays, but print them or something, some kind of, so it looks nice. I don't want the plastic trays back for purely practical reasons. All right. Not a lot of accessories with Doric here, but that's okay because I'm just happy to have the figure. Oh, and you know what I realized? So wait, didn't all of the initial figures come with dice? Or was that no, that was the animated figures, right? Yeah. Okay. I've got our waxy paper bags, not as classy as some of the other Hasbro bags, because many of them have, logos and stuff printed on them. These come off as a little weak, I gotta say. So she's got some kind of weird... Let's get all this out of the way. Okay, figure itself. The portraits on these have all been really fantastic. I think they did a great job capturing the actor's likeness. The horns are kind of the way that they're in the hair. Looks really good. The sculpt of the hair is fantastic. A little paint would have been nice, but that's just not really something Hasbro's doing anymore. But all of the facial features and everything, the paint on the face looks fantastic. They did a really nice job. And also capturing her sort of acerbic, stoic facial expression there. Looks great. Clothing-wise, okay, so let's check out this tail. Oh, the tail is a ball joint. That's fantastic. Or actually, oh yeah, complete ball joint. So that's great. I really like that. I'm so glad it's not just like pegged in there because Having an... Oh, great. Now I'm not going to be able to get it back in. Having just a swivel there would have been really disappointing. All right. There we go. Clothing-wise, kind of nice wrinkles and folds. And again, it feels like we're just sort of lacking some paint. Right? Doesn't it kind of look like on her top, maybe the belt piece and the seams? This is the sort of thing a fix-up person would really get into. It's not something that I do, but more paint on this would really make it feel like the premium $24.99 figure that it's supposed to be. As is, like, the sculpt is great. The portrait is great. Got something on the neck. Oh, that came right off. Okay, good. There's just a little spot on the neck there. It just needs more paint than what it has. I'm going to be honest. Okay, so this is cool. How does this work? So she's got her little arm-mounted slingshot, but it looks like it might kind of pop out of there. Yeah. Interesting, but it doesn't do anything. How's that? Huh. You know, I'm going to be honest, I don't remember the mechanics of this well enough, but it was just like a slingshot, right? Like, this shouldn't be, it shouldn't be two pieces. It should be like a loop, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. And her hand, look, the hand is kind of posed. I gotta say, I feel like this figure is sort of missing some things. Because I feel like there should be something to put in this hand, because this hand is posed to hold something. And I feel like this should be a loop and not like that. Very interesting. But all the sculpt looks great. The wrappings on her hands. Like, all of that portion of the detail is good, and her colors look great. I mean, she looks like somebody who protects the forest. Articulation wise, you know, just sort of standard stuff. You've got single jointed elbows with a swivel at the top. They don't quite get a 90-degree bend, which is a little disappointing. Hips are kind of what you expect now. You've got a swivel at the top of the thigh. Double jointed knees with, I like the way that they did her sort of boot top knee pad situation here, where it is a separate piece attached to the knee joint. So it's not, if it is a boot top, this is not great. But functionally, it works really nicely. They've done a good job with it. She's cool. I'm glad to have her. You get standard ankle. I don't know why I even cover Hasbro ankles anymore. They're all the same now, which is good. It's good. They're great ankles. And then she's also got her kind of not even half cloak, quarter cloak type deal, which looks great. That does have a little bit of paint on it. It's got the feathers are nicely sculpted. It's got paint in a few spots, but again, a little more paint would probably make it look even cooler. I would be very interested if there are any folks out there who do, you know, fix-ups and add paint and whatever to their figures. I'd be interested to see actually how all of these Honor Among Thieves characters end up with a little more work done on them. But proportionally, everything about her, she looks great. I'm glad to have her. She's going to look good on the shelf with the rest of the squad. Squad's not the right word. Party. Rest of the party. And then we've got Xenk, who was just the scene where he leaves the movie, which, by the way, I'm okay with him. Spoiler, which if you haven't seen it yet, it's not a huge spoiler because I'm not telling you anything about what his character does. But the scene where he sort of exits is just fantastic. And his character, his interaction with Chris Pine, he is awesome. I know the movie hasn't done very well financially, but in every other way, it has people love it. So I'm hopeful we can get something more out of it, and maybe we can see a return of Xenk and get a little more out of him. Because he did kind of step in and do his thing and leave, but that's how D&D games, or at least, you know, because he wasn't officially part of the party. So that's kind of how that works. He's an NPC, if you will. Okay, he has got, I think, a lot more paint going on. He's got the little tattoo on his head. He is a member of the race of beings that, well, I don't want to give too much away. It's a mysterious race, we'll just say. A mysterious people in the movie. So he's got a little tattoo on his forehead, looks great. Again, the portrait's fantastic. The paint is applied very nicely. His hair, he has kind of a unique hairstyle there that looks really good. Let's see if his cape, yeah, his cape is just pegged into his back. So you can pull that right off for combat or whatever. The armor has a great, now the chest plate doesn't really match the shoulder pauldrons. Correct me in the comments, please. I don't think they are pauldrons. The shoulder pieces, because they're different kinds of plastic. But they look good. The chest plate looks fantastic. It might be the same kind of silver they used for Destro's head. It has that burnished look to it. All the sculpted detail on his chest is awesome. And he's really just a well-designed, like his colors are great. The brown with the turquoise or teal or whatever that is. And then the gold and silver, like just a really cool looking character. But again, like, yes, his leg armor, gosh, how interesting is that? Look, these are actually separate little pieces that go into the sculpt of his boot. What an interesting way to have done that, rather than this all just being one sculpt. It just looks a little plain. Again, some more paint here would have made this look much nicer. But I do at least appreciate that the boots are brown in the back. And these are clearly armor pieces. But I mean, I feel like the straps should be a different color. Just more paint. More paint would be nice. Articulation-wise, you can see, oh, he does have butterfly joints at the shoulders. And the softer shoulder armor allows a pretty decent range of movement out of those arms. There we go. I was going to get that joint to work no matter what. He's got a ball-jointed waist. He's got the bicep swivel. He's got double-jointed elbows. Everything works very nicely. The plastic, I don't know, it's fine. The arm plastic is maybe a little soft. The leg plastic, which is weird because the leg plastic on him, well, I don't know, that thigh plastic is pretty stiff. Similar to some of the other figures in the original review that I did. But all the articulation is what it's supposed to be. Everything moves nicely. Ankles are, oh, that's funny. I just said I'm not going to bother talking about Hasbro ankles anymore. But his ankles are different because of the armor in the front here. He actually has the older ankle system of the peg. Ooh, and I don't know if that's going to move too much. Might have to heat these up before I do a whole lot with them. He's got the old school ankle system of the peg that goes up and then just the disc on the foot. So he does not have the same ankle articulation, oddly enough. So he can, you know, he's standard Hasbro figure. These are scaled. Let me get my trusty 00 Snake Eyes here. And you can see that these guys are a little smaller than the Joes. So they actually will measure up with Black Series. And Indiana Jones, I suppose, is going to be the size that they go with. And I'm not sure if I looked at that before. He is just at 6 inches tall, which makes him a little smaller than Marvel Legends and G.I. Joe Classified. He's got his big thick scabbard, which actually is kind of bigger than I would have even liked. It is a little bulky, but it does seem to be attached pretty nicely, which is something that's always a concern with these kinds of things. Look at that belt. I can't say a single bad thing about the sculpt on these figures. The sculpting is fantastic. It really is just the deco where I feel like they could have done just a little bit more for these $24.99 figures. His skirt, you can see the way it's slitted so it doesn't impede his leg movement. Look at the chainmail in the front right there. That's a really nice touch. Just a cool, cool figure. And then he's got his sword, which is not rubbery. Hang on, let me get it focused. It is not rubbery. It is, you know, it's malleable, and it actually has a little bent there, which totally... Sorry, I had to get him out of the image. Can we focus on the sword, please? Okay. You can see all the script on the blade. Just tons of beautiful detail. But this goes against one of the reasons I liked the cardboard is this is actually a little bent. So I'm going to have to heat that up to straighten it out. I mean, it's not too bad, and it's certainly not as bad as some stuff that's come out of a plastic tray, but it's not as straight as you'd think it would be. But looks great. It's going to fit in his hand, which the hand is pliable enough that you're not going to have any issues getting it in there. Holds it very nicely. And then it's going to fit right into that scabbard. Oh, look at that. It actually, there's a notch where it slides home perfectly. That's beautiful. And then we didn't really look at his cape. It's pretty basic. The collar is nice. The painted detail on the collar looks good. And then that brocade or whatever you'd call it on the side. And actually, if you look at the bottom here, the bottom. So I guess the cape, okay, so the cape is this beige color and the brown is paint. But the way that they've applied it looks really good. It's not just all brown. Like they did a nice job with the paint application to give that a kind of unique look that goes very well with the rest of his costume. So there you go. Xenk and Doric, two, for me, must-haves for this Dungeons and Dragons collection because this line is a bit of a side quest for me, if you will. I've got two owl bears coming, more down the line, a displacer beast. Like, I'm very excited about all the fantastical stuff that Hasbro is doing, and I hope this line does well and can continue. And I say this line, all of the Dungeons and Dragons stuff, not just Honor Among Thieves. So there you go. Not quite $24.99 figures in my opinion. You would not be wrong to wait for the price to drop just a little bit on them. Don't pay those early adopter prices if you don't want to. But I'm glad to have these and hope you enjoyed the review. And again, leave any comments, anything on here that I missed or like anything you can explain, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you guys. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about Needless Things, and maybe go play some D&D or at least go watch the movie.
Smash that like button if you like Needless Things.